Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tony with Tony's Tractor Adventure, and this is Mr. Bill Reed with Precision Manufacturing.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, you're welcome.
Well, we come here today to talk about some grapples, and if you guys don't know, I have a couple of precision manufacturing pieces, so I'm biased. But if you watch our channel, you know that what we do, we just show it work, and it really does what it's supposed to do.
Yes, thank you.
So let's ask some questions to Bill about the different types of grapples and the different kinds of implements he has, and then you mind just giving us a lowdown on all that's going on?
Sure. Okay, so Tony, there's a lot of different types of grapples out there, and you've probably seen them as you walk around the show.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you've got grapples like ours. We call ours grapple rakes because you're able to actually rake with them. And we've got the open bottom that will sift the dirt. You can also, other styles are solid bottoms, and you really can't do much raking with those types, but they have their place. So really, when you're selecting a grapple, you gotta figure out why you want the grapple, what you're gonna be using the grapple for.
Well, that brings me to the question, what do you think the number one mistake a first-time tractor buyer, they're gonna go out and buy their grapple, what's their biggest mistake they make?
I think it's not buying the one that fits their equipment. They either get one that's too heavy, and then you don't have room for the material to pick up, or they get it too light and they tear it up because their equipment's too big for it.
So if you guys don't know, we bought it's the 322, I believe is what it is.
Yes, it is.
I just use it. I don't know the numbers, but anyway, I use it, and it's like 260 pounds, a little bit over 260 pounds. Well, it fits perfectly on my T25, which is a 25 horsepower tractor. So it's stronger. It's almost impossible for me, and we have used it. It's almost impossible, not impossible, but almost impossible for me to tear it up on that size tractor. It's perfectly matched for that size tractor. Now, when I do put it on my 48 horsepower, I am cognizant of the fact that it is a lightweight grapple. Really, maybe crossed that threshold a little bit.
You did.
Not much, but I'm very cognizant of it, and I don't just like jam things.
Right, yeah. That particular model, we kind of rated 20 to 40 horsepower is what we say for it.
Right. So if that happens, if you have two tractors, you really need to be cognizant of that.
That's right.
So that's my $5 word for today. We're done. We got to use small words for the rest of this interview.
Okay, we can do that.
Bill, this leads us into the different types of materials. Tell us why we use certain types of materials, and what are the materials you use, what are their benefits? Because like on our little 322 grapple, it is, it's tough as nails. I mean, everybody that watches the channel knows that we put it through its paces. We're responsible with it, but it's never failed us to this point.
Yeah.
What do you do? What are your thoughts?
So there's basically 4 different types of steel that people are using on grapples. You've got A36, which is called mild steel. You've got GR50, which is a high-strength steel. You've got T1, which is a tempered steel. You've got AR, which is abrasive resistant, and each one of those steels have their own benefits and places in different grapples. But you measure the steel, you grade the steel by tensile strength, and the tensile strength is the point at which it will break. You've got the yield, which is the point at which it will bend, and it usually won't bend back.
All metal has a amount of flex, but it'll spring back, and once you get past a certain point, that's right. That's the yield.
That's right.
And I'm just trying to make myself understand it.
That's right. Okay. And then finally, you have a hardness, how hard the steel is for resistance.
Is that where it would be like as on the tines of the grapple as it's dragging through the dirt? It's harder, so it's not going to wear off as quick.
Right, okay. Right. And I can give you a prime example. For instance, on our Hada grapple,
right,
we use mild steel here because this is really not going to be dragging down into the dirt. All this is going to be doing is holding the load in the bucket. The bucket's going to be doing most of the work.
Just providing a clamping effect.
So we can use a mild steel on this particular product. Now, conversely, your grapple, we needed it to have a lot of strength, yet we wanted it to be lightweight. We wanted it to be under 300 pounds, somewhere 250 to 300 pounds in that range. So we used a AR 400 steel on it, which has a high rating in the tensile strength, the yield, and it's the hardness of the steel. So we're able to use a thinner steel and yet have the strength of a thicker steel.
I want to say that we've talked about this off camera, but I use the 322, which is a little over 260 pounds, and we use it on our T25, which is a 25 horsepower tractor, and it's almost to the point. Now, I'm not going to say you can't tear it up. You can't. Anybody can tear up anything.
That's right.
But it's almost perfectly matched to that 25 horsepower tractor and its capabilities, that we have really used it to the max and never came close to damaging the grapple. Inversely, I have the T474, which is a 48 horsepower tractor, and I will use that grapple sometimes, but I'm very cognizant of the fact that I am over the tractor size for that grapple. And I know you probably don't encourage that, but if you do have two tractors and you do use it, you have to be very cognizant of this grapple that we're talking about was specifically designed for that tractor. Which brings me to my next question: what is the biggest mistake first-time tractor buyers make when they buy a grapple? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear.
It's usually they don't match the grapple weight to the tractor. They'll get one that's too heavy, and then they don't have any capacity left for lifting material, or they get one that's too lightweight, and they tear it up. They bend it up because their tractor or skid steer is too big for the grapple.
Absolutely. So one of the things that when I started my grapple journey, I seen the big grapples like you have. So skid steer grapples right here, and in our, it's not necessarily intuitive. You would think that a heavier, bigger grapple is what you need because you can't tear it up, and it just looks big and mean, and
That's right.
Yeah, you got that. It's just that thing. You want it big. Then you really start getting into it and studying it. It is very counterproductive to get a heavy grapple. If you have a tractor that can lift 1,300 pounds to full height, but your grapple weighs 800 pounds, it basically limits your tractor. It's almost not usable anymore.
For instance, Tony, we have this grapple here. It weighs 1,400 pounds.
That's more than my tractor can pick up.
That's more than your tractor can pick up. And conversely, our grapple rakes, like the one on the end here, it weighs 255 pounds, and that's
perfect.
That's more of the weight for you.
So you make several different styles, several different weights for different categories, and all of them have their purpose, I'm sure.
That's right, and we can hit every weight category, but at the high point, 1,400 pounds, to the low point, 255 pounds.
So I'm intrigued by the added grapple. Now, I'm going to reach out to some of my friends and say, we have a friend, Brock from Rock Hill Farm. He has that grapple. So if you're interested in seeing that work, please jump over to that channel and check it out. It's Rock Hill Farm. He again shows it work. He doesn't baby it.
No,
I talked to him. He's very excited about it. He's used it quite a bit now, and he's like, it's the real deal.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder. First off, what is the benefit for a first-time tractor buyer to get this versus a grapple?
Well, price
absolutely
is important.
Yeah. Oh, I knew it, but I wanted to say it. I wanted to hear from you.
So if a lot of people I'm going to use my grapple maybe twice a year, 3 times a year. Not going to use it real often. Maybe after a storm, I'll go clean up some brush from the storm, and they don't want to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a grapple. Well, they're able to buy this particular one a lot less money.
It probably will do 80% of what a grapple can.
That's right.
You may not can sift. You may not be able to sift. That'd be like the only thing you can't really do is sift. But everything else, it's...
Yeah, that's right.
Now, can you get this in a double clamp or in single clamp, or what are the options?
Yeah, we've got really in the Atta grapple, we've got like 5 different models, and you can get it with the single clamp, or you can get one with 2 grapples or clamps. You can get a heavier duty one, we've got them for skid steers, we've got them for big tractors, we've got them for backhoes. So there's just a wide variety, and really anywhere from 36-inch wide buckets up to 100-inch bucket.
Okay. So we got this big giant grapple here. This is obviously for a skid steer or a large tractor, I would assume.
That's right. It is.
Now, what is the benefit? When a first-time tractor buyer comes to you and says, "I want a grapple," which one should they get, for a double opener or a single opener, or is there a reason to have one or the other?
There is, and you got to know what you're going to be using the grapple for before you select one. A single grapple, for instance, if you're picking up material that is consistent with, well, let me rephrase that. If you're going to be picking up something that's like a round hay bale or a square bale,
Perfectly round.
you may want a single clamber.
Pies.
And and that way you're picking it up and going. Conversely, if you're picking up something with an uneven load, like brush, for instance, a brush is never an even load.
Right. Now, I love that.
Yeah. It will clamp down on an uneven load, and that's the benefit of the double.
My personal preference for like a homesteader that's going to be clearing trails and clearing your place where you put your house is the double grapple, because I have yet to find a level load. You know, I've had this has got a stump in it, this doesn't have a stump in it. So I had a grapple that was just a single in the middle, and it was wonderful for moving logs. It was absolutely perfect for big long logs because they're almost the same size all the way down. But when you start clearing brush, I really like the double clamp system. And again, I don't see, for what we do and most of my viewers do, I think the double clamp is the right way to go.
Yeah.
Is that your thoughts as well?
Absolutely, yeah. And I would venture to say 95 to 99% of our sales are double versus single. So
we're already here. What else do you got? What else I know one thing you got the mini clip, and we use that. That
right.
is fun. I love it. What else you got? Talk to me about these. What are these for?
Well,
who are these for?
Okay, well, this is how our company got started right here with this product, and it's our high reach clipper. And primarily the people that are using this particular product are the property owners that have limbs that are hanging down. They're scratching their equipment, and maybe they want to trail, or they want to mow a little bit closer to the edge of the fields, and this will rotate so you can side trim along fence rows or cut at ground level.
So the mini clip is just its smaller brother, younger brother,
and it's for smaller equipment. This one cuts between 9 and 12-inch trees. This one is 7-inch, so it's a little bit lighter. And
I use this on my 48 horsepower tractor, and it's with the rear wheels loaded, it's roughly 5,000 pounds, and it seems like a really good fit.
Yeah.
But I've tried it on my 25 horsepower tractor, which is maybe about 3,000 pounds, and I think that's maybe a hair too light. That's with a loader and the loaded tires.
Right.
And you can still use it as long as you don't have it extended, but if you extend it, you just have to be very smart with it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we kind of use as a guide. We want you to have at least 1,200 pounds of lift, and we want you to counterweight it, just like you said. So very important. Keeps it from being floppy, and then we want to have 2,500 psi on your hydraulic pressure, right, to be able to cut through the tree.
So we've had really great luck with our tractors. Like I said, I think my T25 is definitely not a subcompact tractor.
Right.
It needs to be that right at that 30 horsepower tractor that's 3,000 pounds of frame, and higher.
Right, I agree.
There's so many variations in tractor. This is a hard subject to cover. So if you're gonna do a mini clip, make sure that you absolutely do your homework on it. But I will say this thing will pay for itself. Just once you get it, you trim your neighbor's trees, then every other neighbor wants you to trim their trees. We've cut we had a limb hanging over a house, and we just went out at the very end and just snipped off a little piece. So the little piece that fell down and hit the gutters, it was just about, 3 or 4 pounds. And then we moved back, snip a little more and a little more and a little more. So it was all done safely. And where if you were on a chainsaw or you'd have to move your man basket around. So I never got out of the seat. I never broke a sweat. And then all we had to do, I took the grapple on the other tractor and went through and picked up all the little pieces. I actually did all that work with very little physical labor.
Yeah.
Bill, this is, I think I've seen it here before, but I've just never really paid attention to it. And then I go look at it. It looks like a saw / clamshell clamp.
It's a tree puller.
It's a tree puller. Tell us what it is, because it looks impressive, whatever it is.
It is. And this is our tree puller, and it is built for stout, because if there's ever a product out there that needs to be built strong, it's a tree puller.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to take a lot of use and abuse.
Right.
And that's what we did with this. And we've just redesigned this recently, to tell you the truth. We've extended the reach on this another foot so that you're able to dig stumps out of the ground.
Oh, so you can dig it under it and pop them up.
Dig up a little bit deeper as you're digging. These are called root rippers here. This will rip the roots, break the roots away from the stump. And
so this is,
so you can pull it out.
I think you said that, but this is just, it's a saw.
Yeah.
It's just, as you're going, pushing up in the ground, it's just, instead of trying to fight the root, you're just cutting them in two.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And we protect our cylinder behind the cylinder guard. We put this big guard on here to keep the limbs from getting inside your cab or the front of your tractor if you're using it on the tractor.
Now I see this over here. It looks like a saw to me.
It is.
Does it like to push into the side?
You move back and forth on the tree, and that will saw the tree down.
What would you put this on?
It's probably best on a skid steer, just because of the maneuverability and the visibility of a skid steer. A tractor,
lose your nose.
That's right.
Right, you lose your nose. I understand that. I struggle even just putting buckets on.
Yeah, that is right.
It's part of being a tractor owner. You learn how to do it, but this is really my skid steer.
We do sell quite a few of them for tractor owners.
So if you were going to sell this to a tractor owner, what size tractor would you recommend for this?
Well, that's a difficult question, and I'll tell you why. One of the first things.
That's why I asked it.
One of the first things people always ask me is, well, how big of a tree will it pull up? Well, there's really 3 variables. I mean, soil conditions are very important. The species of tree, the root system of the tree is important, and the size of the equipment. So we've sold these to tractors 50 horsepower, and I don't know if I can go much lower than that.
I agree.
And they can probably, generally speaking, pull up 5-inch trees with it. And if you get any bigger than that, you're really going to have to work the tree back and forth to loosen the root system up.
Now we've talked about a lot of your stuff here, and a question just popped in my mind that I know a lot of viewers are interested. How long have you been doing this, and how is the parts availability of your company? You're locally owned. Where are you from?
Okay, well, we manufacture these in Sedalia, Missouri.
So it's not coming from somewhere else?
No,
okay.
It's not traveled over the ocean, but things are a challenge right now, to be quite honest. Some of the components are difficult to get. Some of our steel we're able to get the steel, but it's coming in a little bit slower than it used to, and price increases. It's like every time we order a component, there's a price increase. So we really have to monitor all of that very closely.
I totally get that. I escort my wife home with the eggs now, and
yes, that's right.
Everything is more expensive. Yeah. She needs a bodyguard to come home with the eggs now.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of the tractor buying community, the implement buying community, is coming to somewhat of an understanding that we are not in the same place we were 3 or 4 years ago, but it's getting better. I think it's starting to smooth out, and
and you're right.
The supply chain is going to get better.
Yes,
we had that was a big disturbance to the normality of our world.
It is.
That's like 2 big words I've used in this interview, so I am completely done with big words. We gotta wrap this up.
Yeah, that was a 5-syllable word.
5 syllable. That's all five. That's a $5 word. I don't have any more money. Bill, I really appreciate you taking the time to let me interview you, and you've been really open and honest about it. So if you're going to buy a grapple, listen to what this man has told us, because he has sold a lot of grapples. You use a lot of grapples. You're not just a maker. You actually use them.
That's right.
So there's some wisdom here that we all need to pay attention to. Listen, God bless. Subscribe to our channel. Have a great day.